Today I've already taken my walk. I've got my steps in. If you know, you know. If you don't know, I'll be sure to link the video above where I have been discussing my devoted 90. This is week 3. As you can see, we've got our coffee. I've already gotten to work for the day. It's now 1:21. I washed my hair after my walk. I have a load of laundry in the dryer, in the wash, and so yeah. So it's going to be a productive one today. We're still taking a break from homeschool. We'll be getting started next week with homeschool again. I also have to get my mind right and together for that. Okay, let's get to it. Okay, so in full transparency, I have not emailed my list in probably about 3 to 4 weeks, and I am going to probably lean more toward 4 weeks than 3. And the reason being is that I have really just been in this place of asking myself, why am I doing what I am doing? And what I mean by that is, I've been asking myself, am I doing things out of scarcity from a place of what industry norm is, or am I actually doing things that one actually flow with my life rhythm? Like I am, first and foremost, I'm an introvert. You know, most people don't believe it when they meet me, but I am actually a true introvert. So that's one thing. Another, which means that I can be on, but I can't consistently be on. Being consistently on is draining, but I am a creative at heart. I love to create. I love to give. I love to strategize because that's another part of what makes me me. But I had to sit down and ask myself, okay, am I showing up in all of the places, doing the newsletters? Am I doing this because of what I know, quote unquote, works according to, the world system? Or am I doing it am I doing it from a place that is actually sustainable, but also a place that really sustains me, that actually is aligned with my life rhythm? And I had to be really real and come to the conclusion that, you know what, I was doing these things out of scarcity. And also, I was doing them not from a place of trust, actually trusting the Father and actually thinking that, if I did more, like I would help him along or something like that. Like, sis, okay, if you don't know, you cannot help him. You cannot help the Lord, okay? I am really coming to realize, well, I've always known this and I've seen it in different seasons and iterations of what it is that I'm doing, but I'm just really coming to terms with the fact that I can be ambitious, but I have to check the heart of my ambition. Is the heart of my ambition from a place of scarcity? Is it coming from a place of, okay, I have to be consistent because this is what they say works? And not only is that what they say, but also I have to make sure that I'm staying top of mind and I don't want my people to think that I'm flaky. Be real. There is a time and a place for that. There is a time and a place for hustle. But for me, In my present life season, I am choosing to really lean into soft success. I am choosing to lean into the leading of the Lord, and I am allowing Holy Spirit to set my pace. For me, my pace has is that something that's a lot more steady. And I would rather it be steady than for me to literally just have these bursts and then just burn out. Burst, burn out, because that's what I used to do. And so, going back to the email list, I haven't emailed my list because honestly, I've just been in this space of overall transition, of just slowing down. Like, I was posting like practically every single day on Instagram and even YouTube shorts. I actually took the shorts. I deleted the shorts on this YouTube channel. And I have gone down to a cadence of 3 days per week. I am allowing 3 days per week on Instagram. I am allowing all of everything that I'm doing, I'm allowing it to be enough. On top of that, I decided that I wanted to do something completely different regarding a newsletter. If I'm honest, again, I said that I was a creative and just writing a plain old email, that's another thing. I love to write, but I also truly desire like a creative outlet as well. And so what I have done is I've completely shifted the notion of what a newsletter is. And I essentially have created a magazine of sorts, I guess you could say. I'm calling it the Devoted Drop. And by the time this video goes up, you should be able to get the first issue. I'm so incredibly excited. I am humbled by God to even receive the idea. But this is something that, it's really exciting me. And so as a result, I just decided that if I say something, I want it to be something of substance, something that actually matches who I am today. And I never want to show up on any video, any platform. I never want to show up just for the sake of showing up, just for the sake of hitting a number. If I'm honest, I just want to be of value, right? And prayerfully, the things that I share, the videos that I'm sharing, even the vlogs, not only do I want you to enjoy them, but my prayer is that you actually get something out of them. We have enough content that really just is cool, right? It's aesthetic and whatever else, but I don't know about you, but a lot of times I actually crave a bit of both, So yeah. So today I'm actually working on the newsletter. I'm working on the news. Well, I've gotten the first issue of Devoted together. So right now I'm going to take you with me and we are going to work on the email that will go out tomorrow, Wednesday, July the 16th. And yeah, I'm excited. Let's get to work. publish. There we go. I'm like, what is going on? Okay. Earlier today, like I said, I was working on this. I've been working, and I went ahead and added a sign up to my beacons, my link in bio. And so actually I want to test it to make sure that it's working, because a few months ago, when I was using MailerLite, I had issues with pages. So perfect. So I just want to make sure that everything is copacetic. Okay, see, this is one reason. This is something really good to actually see. I'm going to turn you around for a second. One thing I always recommend clients do is when you set things up, make sure that you actually go through the process yourself. Because the first thing that I notice here is that I have this button on my landing page, asking people to subscribe. But guess what? There are no fields for them to subscribe. So I am going to go ahead and go in and update this now. Whatever you set up, go through it like with fresh eyes, as if you yourself are the customer. That way you can catch little hiccups that tend to pop up sometimes. Okay, so I've got that taken care of. Now the next thing I need to do is I have a vlog that is going to go live today. So I have not created the description. I haven't created the thumbnail. And I haven't even come up with a title, which are actually no-nos according to like typical standards. Those are actually no-nos. So you should, prior to posting, especially on YouTube, you should already have like your thumbnail text and especially your title already determined before you even sit down to actually like script an actual video. So yes, these are truths, so to speak. At the same time, I also believe that it's a vlog. I'm just living. Okay. So it's not that I don't want the things that I set my hands to be successful. Like, of course I do. Of course I want to create content that, that impacts millions, right? At the same time though, is if those things are becoming cumbersome, if quote unquote industry standards have become roadblocks and hindrances instead of actually allowing me to do what I need to do away with it. And actually I want to encourage you to do the same. Do an audit for yourself. Ask yourself, okay, if you are finding content creation a little more difficult, if you're finding just showing up in your life differently, right? So let's say, you desire to eat more clean and you want to take a walk. What have been your barriers to doing those things? What are the barriers to doing the things that you want to do? The truth is that oftentimes we think that like resources or having to learn something are the things that are actually the barriers. But the truth is that there is always something that you can do on your level. So regarding, okay, let's say working out, you're having difficulty working out. Okay, maybe one way to get yourself over the barrier is you set your clothes out the night before. Maybe if you want to eat clean, maybe you need to go ahead and make the sacrifice and batch your meals. Like, there is always a way, is what it comes down to. And so, again, like, as it relates to business and content creation in particular, if industry norms like hooks and, SEO and, all this stuff, if those things have become a barrier to your obedience, drop them, okay? Because anything that is a barrier to your obedience, is it of God? Is it of God? Is it the time? Is it the place for it? Maybe not. Maybe what's most important right now is that you get in the reps and you get 1% better. So each week, okay, you just decide, okay, so first of all, for the next 2 weeks, I'm just going to show up consistently at a cadence of 3 days per week. Bam, okay, you got that down. Then after you show up consistently 3 days per week, maybe it's going to be, I'm going to work on my hooks. Okay, cool. Maybe, after you get that, just it's just all about putting in the reps and figuring out what's your barrier. What is your barrier to doing the thing that you say you want to do, and to address it head on. Eat the frog, as Brian Tracy says. I have officially, finally, settled on a design for our thumbnail. And on top of that, I already took it away, but I have the video set to premiere today at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time. Obviously, by the time you see this, it'll be way too late for you to join me live, but if you haven't, be sure to check out the vlog, my first vlog, and I'm excited. Also, let's talk about that for a sec. Okay, so I wanted to talk about just the struggles of even going ahead and pressing publish on my first vlog. So the thing with me is that if you've been following along, I'll go ahead and link a couple episodes of the podcast. But I've been talking about how the Lord had been leading me to begin to lean into what I call lifestyle brand leadership. So essentially just lifestyle leadership, which is if you are a coach, a service provider, a mentor, business owner, just whatever, right? To actually share your message from the lens, like through the lens of your actual life, how you live your life. So for me, someone who really specializes in authority in terms of brand positioning and marketing, really also, is that it's actually easy to lean into just the information side of things. But the truth is that the bulk of my work is really mindset driven. And so the best thing that I can do is actually show you how I live my life, how I go about making the decisions that I do. Also, like, just what it looks like as a woman who is a introvert, a woman who is a homebody, a woman who is a wife, a woman who is a mother, right? Showing all of these things, but through the lens of my life, okay? And so, like, sharing what I know through the lens of my life. Okay, I feel like I'm getting repetitive at this point. Okay, but the thing that I struggle with was actually thinking that because I was a homebody, because I, may not have like the most aesthetic home, thinking that because that was my present life, that you wouldn't find anything valuable in it. And honestly, that was where I found myself until 2 weekends ago. I came across a young lady. Her name is Arian. What I love about Arian is that Arian is not some 20-year-old. Nope. Arian is a 36-year-old, and her channel name is actually called The Introverted Homebody. And when I saw her post, I was like, oh my goodness. It was literally like the Lord was like giving me a good kick, okay? Like, girl, you can do this. And I am definitely going to be sure to link Arian's channel in the description. The thing about it is that she encouraged me to lean into the belief that my life as it stands is enough. That I don't have to necessarily go on shopping trips because that's not where I am in my life, okay? Also, if you haven't caught on by now, I am someone who kind of leans a little bit into my husband calls it luxury minimalism, okay? Which is I believe in a capsule wardrobe. I believe in less is more. That's me, okay? That's me. But it took me years to get here, okay? And so, like I said, with that said, I homeschool. A lot of times it's my son and I. Plus, I'm not really 100% sure about comfortable even sharing my husband and my son with you all like that. Like, just in general, kind of like in public. I don't know, we'll get there, whatever. But as of right now, that's just not something I'm willing to do, right? And so I just really grapple with, okay, is what I have enough? Like, is what I have to say, what I have to share, is it enough? And seeing Arian really gave me the permission that I needed to just go ahead and lean in. And that if I show you a day in my life, an afternoon in my life, or evening in my life, or whatever it is I decide to share, that it is in fact enough. And so I really want that, hopefully that encouraged you. Just do it, girl. Just do it. We want to see it all. At least I do. And that was a whole nother thing. I'm like, girl, create the content you want to see. Like, create the content you like to watch. And for me, that's what I like to watch. It's a lot of 20 somethings, no children, living their life. But the truth is that there really is not a whole lot of representation now. Now things are changing. Now things are changing to actually creators who are, 40 plus, creators who are speaking directly to people who are 40 plus, and that's where I find myself. And honestly, it's a breath of fresh air. And so, yeah, I'm rambling. Girl, let's go make some lunch. So while my potatoes are going, I am going to go ahead, grab the, what's in the dryer? I'm gonna go ahead and grab the sheets out of the dryer, then put the clothes in the dryer. Let's go. I was looking for this the other day. And I was folding clothes, girl. Hallelujah. One of the things that I will say is that in this time in my life, one of the things that I have really been learning to lean into more and more each and every day is to be grateful, even for the mundane things. And if I'm honest, especially being a little bit more of a homebody for now, the Lord has been getting on me about me calling myself a homebody because it won't always be like this for me. He's really calling me out of my comfort zone. Okay, so I'm just learning to be grateful for even the mundane things. I'm, just learning to be grateful for a roof over our heads, clothes on our back, shoes on our feet, the breath of life. Um, it is so easy to get caught up in what you don't have, what you wish could be different. But the thing that I am really learning is that when we maximize what God has done, the Lord really begins to amplify those things. And even in me saying, okay, he begins to amplify those things, what I'm really saying is that, I'm really realizing and seeing firsthand how when I glorify God for what he is doing and has done in my life, the more I am actually able to see his goodness as it begins to roll in new areas. And so, sister, I know that it can be difficult to, there are, you want your business to succeed. You want a greater level of financial stability even within your home. You may be a woman who desires, the things that she put her hands to be successful. You want your children to do well. You want your children to be well. You want them to have good friends, all of these things, right? You could be like me, who is, desiring a real sister friend in her life. But the thing is that, are you grateful for your own friendship? Are you grateful for even the friendship within your children, so to speak? Are you grateful for the friendship within your spouse, the relationship that you have in your spouse? And so I'm just learning to just overall to be grateful, even in the little things, even in the mundane things, to just be grateful. And honestly, the thing that I'm realizing is that the more that you're grateful, the more that you find joy, peace, and happiness within those things. And also, even as I'm just folding the clothes, I'm just telling the Lord, thank you, you know, Just telling the Lord, thank you for my portion. And also, I am reminded of the fact that it's not necessary to do everything quickly. For me, this is an aspect of soft success. Soft success means that, guess what? Even in folding the clothes, I don't have to be in a hurry to fold the clothes. And, whose timeline am I on, right? I don't have to be in a hurry. That I can take my time. Oh, those are my potatoes. That I can take my time, even in these things. That, me folding clothes, my son, he's presently sitting on the couch doing his artwork, something he loves to do every single day, doing what he loves. I can enjoy this moment, like even in folding sheets, folding towels and sheets, that not only do I have something to be grateful for, but I also am allowed the space to truly work in Matthew 11, the unforced rhythms of grace, which is something that I will be talking about till Jesus comes, okay? Working in unforced rhythms of grace. And yeah, actually, we're going to pause on these sheets and we're going to go eat some lunch. Let's go. So, if you do not know, here is my lunch. I'm gonna drizzle some vegan ranch on top, some vegan homemade ranch on top. Let me grab that. And I don't necessarily need a whole lot. Let me try to get a good angle for you. Hold on. My scrumdiddlyumptious, to me, calorie dense meal. In last week's vlog, I actually talked about the fact that my family and I were actually vegan. We've been plant-based probably for about 4 to 5 years now, and we absolutely love it. I could literally go into a whole, whatever about plant-based eating and really how it has affected our health, literally almost drastic. Like, and when I say drastically, I mean, so my husband in particular, my husband had really, really, really horrible sinuses and allergies. Literally every season change, every temperature change, he literally had to wake up and actually squirt his nose with nasal spray. That's just how bad his allergies were. Also, he had this ongoing thing where he would like, but it would be like mucus. As you can see, like if I did it, it was dry, right? But it was always mucus, and he was doing it like throughout the day, a bajillion times a day. And I'm not even kidding. When we initially went vegan or plant-based, probably within the first 30 to 60 days, it actually cleared up. And as each season change progressed, he literally, like, I think when we initially went plant-based, I want to say, I feel like it was like colder months, like about to go into colder months. No, it was colder months. And so, yeah, so I think actually we were early autumn when we initially went plant-based, and I went vegan overnight. I went vegan overnight from a documentary that I watched. Now, prior to this, we were actually vegetarian. I became a vegetarian overnight during my pregnancy with my son. I just I could not stand the smell of meat. So I literally became a vegetarian overnight. Okay, well, this time I became a vegan overnight, and I ended up watching a documentary. This was not like the first time I've seen, documentaries based on plant-based eating. Not at all. But this particular documentary went into detail and how chickens are farmed, how how chickens are farmed, how pigs are farmed, and honestly, that did it for me. I didn't eat for 48 hours, and after that, my first meal was a plant-based meal, and literally we never looked back. But regarding my husband, by the next time spring rolled around, he no longer needed nasal spray, and his allergies had significantly decreased. And when I say significantly, I mean like a 90% decrease. Okay. And literally from there, at this point, he has nothing when it comes to season changes. And so, yeah, look, girl, don't get me started about being the beauty of being a plant-based eater. But yeah, so in my last vlog, as I was saying, I was talking about that. I was talking about the fact that I wanted to make sure that I lean more so into whole food, plant-based nutrition. What you see here is what is called a 50-50 plate by Dr. McDougall. It is called the starch solution. Although I'm not necessarily in the process of releasing weight. I used to be 274.2 pounds. Yes, I know exactly, okay? Because I literally been overweight all of my life. I could talk about that in a whole nother vlog if you're even interested. But I am now down to about 157 pounds. My norm is about 155. And so I know that I need to make sure that I clean my diet back up. So yeah, so this is a 50-50 plate. This is a very calorically dense meal. Like, it's a nutrient dense meal. I know you're like, Eb, it's potatoes and salad. I'm telling you, this meal is full of nutrients and it will keep you full for a very long time. Now for me, I will actually end up eating off of this bowl twice today because this is actually a lot of food for me personally. But yeah, girl, I'm ready to eat. Let's go. Lunch was fantastic. Now I'm back at the desk about to work on the YouTube script and actually probably script out a couple of additional episodes. And husband, if you're watching, shh, 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 shh. Don't say nothing. I know. Y'all, my husband has been telling me, to batch, and honestly, your girl just energetically just really hasn't had the energy to, if I'm being really honest. That's neither here nor there. Today, we are working on the script for this week's episode. We're working on the script for this week's YouTube video, sit down YouTube video. And I also thought that I would kind of bring you all into my process. So what I have decided to do is, you've been hearing me talk about leaning into soft success. And for me, an aspect of soft success is allowing the things that I produce to work for me. So that is being intentional about the platforms that I'm choosing to show up on. That is also, any content that is produced that I produce for my brand. I want to ensure that it's actually working, so to speak. And what I mean, and when I say working, I really mean I want to make sure that it's working harder than me. Okay. One aspect of this is I recently decided to create what's referred to as a flywheel. Now, a content flywheel. Now, a flywheel is actually, it's actually a device that is within an automobile. And essentially what it does is it is designed to store and release rotational energy, okay? So it is the thing that really acts as the mechanism that applies energy where it's needed. And so I want you to think of your content in the same way. Your content, if you're a business owner, service provider, whatever you want to call yourself, your content should be doing the heavy lifting for you. It should be creating the rotational energy for you. So it should be the thing that you are, utilizing to share your message. And in turn, you're leading your people through a set ecosystem. Okay. So for me, what I have decided is that for my content flywheel will look like this. It will look like my newsletter, actually the topics that I'm discussing within my newsletter, actually feeding into the content I produce for my YouTube videos. The content I produce for my YouTube videos are now feeding my Instagram content, right? So we have that in terms of what that is. Now, the thing is that if you're going to watch a YouTube video, you'll see, even right now, you'll see a link to actually join my newsletter. Be sure you do that. Join the newsletter, because remember, it's not your average newsletter. So to join the newsletter, within the newsletter, I'm sharing more behind the scenes, more tips, more like you get voice notes. There's a private podcast where I host our devotions, like we have all of these things that I have going on within Devoted, our digital digest. And also at the end, I invite you to check out our latest YouTube video, or check out our latest podcast on the Devoted to Her podcast, right? And ultimately, even within those things, I will be leading you to work with me. So if you are a Christian business owner, or if you are a woman of God and God has been calling you to step out, create content, create the product, create the services, and you're not quite sure how, or you just need another eye on it to help guide you in the right direction, I am that woman, right? But the point is that you have to look at what you produce with more foresight. And that is the thing that I am learning about legacy. I don't know about you, but I don't necessarily desire to be 80 years old, posting out, hammering out TikTok videos. That's not what the Lord is calling me to. That's not what the Lord is calling me to, okay? I desire to create something that will last, something that is sustaining, and as a result, sometimes you have to play the slower game. And I put slower in quotes because on the outside it can seem slow, because you may not necessarily have the vanity metrics, meaning the views, followers, and things like that. However, what matters is the back end. Yes, I may only have 244 subscribers, but I have X amount of clients. Yes, you may go to my Instagram page and I only have, 44 followers. However, these are the deals that are happening in the background. You see what I'm saying? And so I know that as I continue to move and be more intentional, I know that the external growth will come. And also, this is also kind of a bit of a side note too, is that even sometimes now I really have to have a come to Jesus moment myself, okay? And actually remind myself of why I'm even doing this. Eb, are you doing this for the vanity metrics? Or are we doing this being a woman about our Father's business and stewarding the thing that He has called you to do? And so I want to actually just kind of toss that ball back to you. If you found yourself kind of discouraged by the metrics, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for the applause of man? Or are you doing this in obedience to the one who has called you? So, yes, remember, we want to be women, we're not after quick fixes. We're not after just, get rich quick scheme, so to speak. We want to be women of Proverbs, I believe it's Proverbs 23, where we are wise women who build our houses, who build communities, and who build businesses that are established by the Lord. Okay, powerhouse, I am about to enjoy my snack of caramel rice cakes, a little zhuzhed up peanut butter. It's zhuzhed up with some stevia and apple pie spice, along with some apples. And I'm going to enjoy my snack, finish up my work day, and I will see you ladies in next week's vlog. I appreciate you all and see you next week. Bye.